All right, guys. So it's kind of interesting. Jim Nagy, now moved from the National Football League to or he moved from the Senior Bowl director for a while, and then he moved to Oklahoma. He's the GM out there. Oklahoma, by the way, hired some real finance attorney from the Midwest to run their entire athletics program. So they're trying to get, very modern in terms of, NIL and things of that nature. But the Senior Bowl, he used to go out to the Senior Bowl. Now, maybe the Senior Bowl still has the same sizzle. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like the Senior Bowl has lost sizzle. And there's a couple of reasons why. A lot of the transfer portal guys, a lot of guys don't want to bust tail in in kind of an exhibition game. A lot of people are just worried about the combine. And even at the combine, you'll have your top, players. They won't even run or do things, and they're not going to get punished in the draft process. So a lot of analytical thinking. So sometimes when you have analytical thinking, you have less entertainment. It's kind of like, a starting pitcher in the past, in his mid-20s or late 20s, throwing 115 pitches. As a fan, when I go to a baseball game, I want to see the starter bust his ass and give you 8 innings of baseball. But now with analytics, and the pitch clock, if he pitches 6 great innings to starter, you're not going to see your Randy Johnsons and Roger Clemens and your Greg Maddux and your just John Smoltz. You're not going to see the Iron Men anymore. And the Senior Bowl, you used to have, before really, now you have so many savvy analytical thinkers, and it's gotten smarter. You're mitigating risk, but for the fans in Mobile and for the fans of draft people, they want to see the guys really, really battle at full strength without regard for, listen, they're thinking of their long-term future, but you also want to see comparative scouting, right? I'm sure every GM would love to see good on good instead of having to project, but you can't really force that. And I guess it is smarter, if you're a first-round player, to not go out there and not risk injury. It's similar to the bowl games and in the past, people were just kind of wired to just maybe go out there and do it and play for their team. And I loved it. I also completely understand, and I'm sensitive to wanting to retain your body and not risk, losing stock. Because if a third rounder, if you're a first round corner and a third rounder burns you in practice, even though you're out there putting yourself at risk and really, playing the game of football and doing something admirable, you're also hurting your draft stock. So maybe that's it with the Senior Bowl. Also the Super Bowl's coming up. It's similar to the Pro Bowl, right? Anyway, Garrett Nussmeier, though, had a lot to prove at the Senior Bowl. Now, Ty Simpson was hurt, but I think Ty Simpson would have also been at the Senior Bowl because Ty Simpson has a lot of great relationships with QB country and those guys, down in Alabama. Ty Simpson is probably working at QB country. Drake May, Bo Nix. So a lot of these Alabama, North Carolina, Tennessee, players, quarterbacks go there. Garrett Nussmeier, his dad, coached everywhere as a quarterbacks coach. So, Garrett was out there and Nussmeier, guy is a quick release, a strong arm, very underwhelming his final year at LSU. Had, Aaron Anderson and had the guy from Kentucky transfer in. At wide receiver, they go out, they beat Clemson. They spend so much money on their roster. You have Joe Sloan in his second year as an offensive play caller. And Garrett Nussmeier was sacked. He was immobile, and he was poor at quarterback. Now, it looked like he had an ankle injury, so it looked like he had an injury in this process. It looked like he was hurt, Garrett Nussmeier. It looked like he wasn't 100%. So can Garrett Nussmeier be like Tyler Shough? Tyler Shough is very similar to Garrett Nussmeier. Now, Nussmeier, first year, replaced Jaden Daniels, coach's kid, wired the right way. It just is an alpha, a team leader, all that kind of stuff, right? So goes out there and has a very good, junior or redshirt junior year. Older quarterback, then plays as a senior, is hurt and goes into these environments and doesn't perform that well. But Garrett Nussmeier has physical tools. Garrett Nussmeier sees the game. He's a coach's son. So Garrett Nussmeier is out there at the Senior Bowl, and he's showing off the throws and the capabilities. He's spinning at 50 yards down the field. Garrett Nussmeier is a perfect second-round quarterback. He's kind of exactly like Tyler Shough, which is crazy. Like, if you were going to say who had a better career in college, would it be Tyler Shough or Garrett Nussmeier? I would say Garrett Nussmeier, because Tyler Shough only had like one okay year at Louisville. Like every other year, he was hurt and unable to play and was really inconsistent at Texas Tech, at Oregon, bounced around everywhere, and didn't have a memorable college career at all. Garrett Nussmeier at least like won a bowl game. Garrett Nussmeier actually beat Jackson Dart. LSU beat Ole Miss. Like LSU had a couple of moments under Brian Kelly. This year was a failure. It was not a good year at LSU for Nussmeier. That's why he was projected as a third or fourth round quarterback. But in this weak quarterback draft, with Ty Simpson injured, he could really be a high second round pick. He could even sneak it to the end of the first round, because if you get healthy Nussmeier, you could get a quarterback that's like top 17 in the NFL. You could get a quarterback that's solid and that can play. So if you're the Minnesota Vikings, if you're the New York Jets, like, you go out there and you take Nussmeier late in the second round, hopefully. So the perfect scenario is you get a stud player at the beginning of the first round. Like, I don't think Nuss is going top 10, but you look at early second round, that's appropriate for a guy who could actually start and be a decent quarterback. Garrett Nussmeier, 6'2", good arm. Not that mobile, but, similar to Tyler Shough in that ability. Like, I think Pittsburgh Steelers can go after Nussmeier. He's just twitchier. He just has more talent than like a Will Howard. Like, he really has a good arm. He does everything right. If he had a good year, and didn't get hurt, he would be easily a top 5 pick, because he would be a solid quarterback, kind of like Dante Moore. All right, so he'd be a top 5 pick in this quarterback draft. If he were coming out next year, he would maybe be, the 6th or 7th guy. But he's a high floor guy. And there are teams that need quarterback, and he did really well. And I believe in Nussmeier. I'm a Nussmeier fan. Disappointed in how it went with LSU. I had LSU, like, even going pretty far this year, maybe to the championship game. Like, I was high on Garrett Nussmeier. And he has more talent than Cade Klubnik, who has a weaker arm. I thought that Klubnik could be a stud in college, though. I thought he could be a great college quarterback. And had moments. Cade has a lot of starts, but I don't think Cade has the arm strength and the upside to be a solid NFL quarterback. Like, you got to have some of these 4- and 5-star tendencies like Tyler Shough has. Jackson Dart has the mobility factor, which is making him a decent NFL quarterback. Like, Brock Purdy doesn't have a huge arm, but Brock Purdy sees the game, and Brock has the instincts. So does Garrett have the instincts? What situation is he going to get into? Can he be under a good offensive staff? I think Pittsburgh is obviously optimum. The Jets are not an optimum situation. Minnesota would be absolutely perfect. Then you could try a chance of JJ and Nussmeier there. So kudos to Garrett. And I believe he can actually be a starting quarterback in the league and possibly a second contract guy. So if he's rated that well, he's a high second round, low first round prospect.